y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm KJ, by the way, and as you can see by the title, I am going to be telling you guys about the story of the time I almost got kidnapped. Yeah, this one's a nail biter, so without further ado, let's just get into it. Alright, now before we get into the deep details of the story, you first have to understand the layout of my parking lot. Trust me, it'll all make sense in a minute. So, when you first enter my parking lot, you're here, you're straight, right? Immediately on the right side, you have the mailboxes. If you keep straight a little bit past that, also on the right side is the dumpster. And the dumpster is surrounded by a partial fence surrounding the sides and the back of it. Front is open. Now, from there, you can either keep straight a little bit because there are some parking spots directly in front of you. You can turn left and you can turn right. Keep that layout in mind as the story progresses, because I promise you need that to understand the craziness of this story. Alright, so one random day, my mom and I leave home for a few hours to go and run some errands. We come back, and to get to our apartment, you have to keep straight and then turn right past that dumpster I was telling you about earlier. So we turn right, and you know how when you've been living somewhere for a while, you eventually learn what your neighbors drive, what your neighbors' visitors drive. So you know a random stranger when you see one. Okay? So we park, and immediately we notice some late model Cadillac in one of our neighbor's spots. So we're sitting there like, you don't live here, and we're not expecting any new neighbors. So who this? So we park, and we looking at him. Now, it's difficult to see inside the car because I think it had tinted windows, if I remember that right. But it was a little difficult to see in the car. But what we do notice is that the car is on. There appears to be some guy in it. And maybe the seat's back. So with all of that, we're like, maybe he's lounging, sleeping. It's a cold day, so maybe the heater's on. Because the car is on, but he don't look like he's trying to go nowhere. So maybe the heater is on while he sleep or do whatever he gonna do. Wait for somebody? We don't know. But he's not really doing anything wrong but sitting in his car, so we go in the house. And that's the last of him for the day. Alright, so the next day or so, my mom and I are in the house getting ready to leave to run some more errands. So we getting ready. I grab the trash bag, tie a knot in it. We walk out the door, so that way we can just take the trash out, go to our car, and leave. So we were in the parking lot, just taking out the trash, walking to the dumpster. We look and notice that the guy whose car was sitting there a few days ago isn't in the same spot. It's like not there anymore. And so we're like, I wonder where he went. So we're looking around because we never noticed anybody leave. And we see the car. And we're like, it's in a different spot this time. I wonder why. Because originally, when you turn right past that dumpster, he was a few spots away from the dumpster. This time, you turn right and he was only like, a couple spots down? So we're like, well, maybe the person whose spot he was in, maybe they came home and asked him to leave because he was in their spot. And that's just where he decided to put his car. Okay. So we keep walking to the dumpster. I'm in front of my mom. My mom's a few feet behind me. She coming with me. So I figure maybe she just wants to check the mail while we out here. Because the mailbox, like I said earlier, is only a few feet away from the dumpster. So we walking, la-dee-dee, and I toss the trash in the dumpster. Now, remember when I told y'all that the trash is partially surrounded by fencing. It's surrounded by a wooden fence on the left and right sides and behind the trash. In the front, there's nothing there. Now, also keep in mind, there's a little bit of space between the dumpster itself and the fencing that surrounds it. So I take out the trash, I toss it in. And as I'm turning to go back to the car so we can leave, right? I glance and notice that there's this guy crouched behind the dumpster. And so that tripped me out. No one's supposed to be back there. There is nothing back there. You literally back there sniffing the trash, okay? That's all you're doing. That's all you can do. So that flipped me out. I did a little schoolgirl scream, and I was like, ah! And, there's this guy behind the dumpster. He's behind the dumpster. Immediately, when I ratted him out and said that there was a guy behind the dumpster, he stands upright and starts walking out from behind the dumpster. Creepy. So now, in order from first to the back, I'm in front because I'm on my way to the car. I'm fed up. I'm done, right? So I'm jogging to the car. My mom is a few feet behind me, and then the guy is like a foot or two behind my mom. So my mom's just walking, and she's using the vehicles to kind of keep an eye on him since you can see your reflection in the cars. So he goes back to his car. Turns out that was him. So my mom gets to the car. We're just trying to stay calm, keep a low profile, whatever. And the interesting part about this is the fact that the guy, we were in the car and we were kind of looking at him. Because now he's faking like nothing happened. He's sitting, he's just lounging up against his trunk like he ain't got nothing to do. So we're looking at him. And he doesn't look normal. You can tell when something's off about a person. And there was definitely something off about him. Because he just seemed out of it. He was just existing. So honestly, it looked like he was on drugs. Just saying, it really did look like maybe he was a little high. Because something just wasn't right. So after a few minutes of eyeballing him, we end up leaving. And I put that in quote marks because we didn't actually leave. We just made it look like we were leaving. So my mom cranks up, and we go to the edge of the parking lot and parallel park in a spot to where we get a bird's eye view of him in his new parking spot. But do so in a way to where he don't know that we looking at him. So we sit there and we call the cops. Because, hey, when there's something strange in the neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters, right? So we call the cops. And they have nerve enough to ask us, oh, well, do you have an HOA? Yes. Well, have you contacted your HOA about this? No, because at the time they were like, closed, I think? So we're like, no. Well, you need to talk to your HOA about it because it's their property, yada yada, and they're the only ones that can really do anything about that. That's their property. Us. So you mean to tell me you can't do anything about suspicious activity such as a man hiding out behind a dumpster, looking like he's just waiting for somebody to come alone? Like really? Is that really what you're trying to tell me? And then they're like, okay, well, we can send somebody out as soon as an officer becomes available. Us, not very thrilled at all. Okay, well, please do, because this guy does not seem right at all. He appears to be on something, please do. Okay, well, we will. Okay. All right, bye. Uh-huh. So we end up leaving. But by the time we come back, I guess there was no cop that ended up becoming available because he's still there. But that's not even all of the action. So the next morning, or a few mornings later, my mom and I are outside again. This time, we realize that this same guy, still in the neighborhood, but this time, he is clear across on the other side of the parking lot. Remember the parking lot layout. When you get in, you do have the option to turn left. This time, he was left instead of being on the right side, our side. So we're looking at the car, we're eyeballing it. And this guy has a license plate, which he did not have before when we first saw him. He did not have license plates. And then I don't remember if it was the same day, later that same day, or a few days later. Ugh, I wish I remember, but I really don't. We ended up witnessing him. Now, no, I can't tell y'all yet. Side note, you gotta know this. When you go to get to the units from the parking lot, you have to walk down a small set of stairs, and then you can either keep straight to access the 2 downstairs units, or you can go up a flight of stairs to get to the 2 upstairs units. So, one day, we witnessed him do just that. He walking from the parking lot to the small set of stairs. He walks down the stairs, and then we see him go up the stairs and disappear into one of the upstairs units. Make that make sense, okay? If he had somewhere to go, if he had a key to any of these units, especially that one, why in the beginning was he parked clear on the other side of the lot? Why was he sleeping in his car? Why was he behind the dumpster? Well, KJ, maybe he had to pee. Apartments have bathrooms. If you had access to one, why didn't you go in and use the bathroom? Skip that. He was hiding back there, probably thinking that I would be alone, but luckily my mom came with me. And that's why he decided to back down, because, 2 against 1. Now, unfortunately, we live on the right side of the parking lot, so we know nothing about that side of the neighborhood. We don't know what's normal for them. We don't know if that unit was vacant or occupied, whether or not he may have broken in. We don't know if maybe he tied somebody up. We don't know. And so for that reason, the cops don't come out when you have zero evidence. They don't go off of intuition. They go off of cold, hard evidence, of which we didn't have enough of to be able to call the police and have them actually come out to investigate. So at this point, I can only hope and pray that everybody's all right, that he didn't break in, even though, like I said, if he had somewhere to go, why wasn't he there to begin with? Instead over here on my side. We don't know. But we haven't seen anything significant happen over there at all. So, don't know. He eventually left like shortly after that day that we saw him go to that unit. So, I don't know if maybe the association ended up coming out, because shortly after calling the cops, we did call the association and made them aware of it. So maybe somebody came out. We don't know. Haven't seen him since. But that is the story of the time I almost got kidnapped. I have a lot more story times to come, so stay tuned for things equally as juicy as this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the experience, of course, but it was fun telling the story now that I have lived to be able to tell it. So, I will see you guys in my next one. Don't forget to comment. Let me know your crazy stories if something similar has happened to you. Follow me on Instagram at Catherine James. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, y'all.